Yep. What's goody team? What's goody team? Welcome to tonight's isolation session for October 9th, 2025. Um, Give me 1 minute to join Discord. Alright. I'm gonna give everybody another 2 minutes to join. At 7:05, we will get started. As you guys know, it is Thursday, the session going into Friday, so today's session is going to go by pretty quick. We're pretty much just going to go over the 30-minute time frame. We'll just look for continuations going into tomorrow, and then we'll go on from there. So it shouldn't be longer than a 25-30 minute stream today. But if you guys have any questions about any pairs, whether or not they're on our list, let me know. Any trades you guys took today, any trades you guys took this week that you want me to go over, let me know. Stream and cord, I got you. Wait, what the hell happened to my Discord? Did I not just have it open? Gotcha. We'll go over GJ. Yeah, GJ was one I was looking at. Gold was one I was looking at. There was like two pairs that I was wanting to see, but timing just wasn't right, man. It's all good. But again, who's calling me at this time, bro? Give me a second, guys. Alright, I'm back. My bad. Yep. What's goody? What's goody? Once again, guys, just gonna give everybody another minute or two. Gonna be a quick session today, once again. Thursday going into Friday, we're just gonna go over the 30-minute. See if there's any continuations, any breaks that we want to see. The breaks that we wanted to see for the ending of the weeks, we'll see if we got those. If not, it's all good. Man. Yep. DOPUSD. Now we need you to come do that chart for us. We need you to do that chart. I just want to say, now that I have you both together here in the chat, you guys are both laughing at my face, talking about I don't have game. All I'm gonna say is, y'all, I don't want to ever hear that again. You guys got game from 1932, bro. In 2025, get with the program. Laughing at my face, clowning me and shit, like whatever, man. I don't need game. All right, bro. Yo, but there's a different person though. It's not an X. Now see, now we're just throwing different vocabulary. Now she not new now. Now it's always a problem. It can be the last one that should be talking, as a matter of fact. The irony, huh? The irony if you type it in the chat right now, huh? Nah, you situation the same shit. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, man. Talking about marriage. Talking about marriage? What the fuck? Man, you're 20. Who you gonna get married to? I had area codes. Alright. Alright, man. Don't flex too much now. Alright, let me sit up. Let's get started, guys. Again, just gonna go over the 30-minute. See if there's any continuation. Should be a pretty quick tire. I'm retired. Should be a pretty quick session today. Once again, if you have any questions, just let me know. AUD USD. Right? Exactly what we talked about yesterday. We know that price was ranging on the 30-minute, but understanding that this range happened at a higher high, where if price were to break these lows, this could be a higher low point from the 30-minute trend, right? Higher high going to a higher low to go back to the top side, right? So if you got into these trades early and you wanted to take a trade going short here to then continue, your stop loss got hit. If you were trading this at the end of Asia going into London and you thought that this was going to be a continuation higher low to go back up to the higher highs, if you didn't cash out at the high of the day, you went straight to stop loss, right? So it goes back to what we were saying. I'm not going to be looking for trades in these areas. I think there was another pair that was very similar to AU. I forgot which one it was. But I'm okay with not taking these trades here. I don't want to get faked out. We see how everybody was getting faked out. If you were a trader going short, you got faked out. If you were a trader going high or going long, you got faked out as well. Alright, so no continuations. We know we're still trading between the change of character high or high. I'm gonna wait it out to see what price wants to do. We'll go on from there. AUD CAD. We had the change of character. Did not get the valid break. We didn't get the break below the 800 either. Price for today was just moving sideways. We have 2 days where price has been moving sideways. So once again, as soon as we get this valid break of these lows, this is where I'll start looking to take these trades. For right now, nothing to look at. There was a few pairs that were looking decent when it comes to the break and the change in the breaks. So we'll see which pairs ended up making those moves. EA, we had lower low, lower high, lower low, right? On the 30, I'm not going to mark this as lower low, lower low, higher high, lower low. We're just going to say all of this is part of the same structure. Lower low, lower high, back down into this lower low over here. Where are we with EA? Still at these lows. I just want to see if price gave us any engulfing candles after hitting these lows. Nothing. We had a day of drop yesterday, then today price gave us 2 days of drop. Going counter trend. So wait it out. Once we start seeing higher highs and higher lows, that's when I'll start taking these trades. EURUSD at the beginning of Asia session. We'll go back into the 30-minute for this one as well. We had 3 days of drop. We had a gap in the first day. Price ended up giving us a day of no net today. After 3 days of drop, the market must move sideways or go up. We ended up moving sideways. We go down to the 5-minute, which is what we were looking for yesterday. To look for a continuation back to the top side, we wanted to see a change of character. We wanted to see a valid break. Price gave us the inducement, did not give us a valid break. And at 1 in the morning, up until pretty much NYC session, price fell right back down to the bottom. Gonna wait it out with ECAD. Right, internal we could still see lower low, lower high, lower low, but since we don't have a valid break of these lows just yet, I'm not going to update my 30-minute lows. I'm gonna wait it out till tomorrow morning and see what price wants to do. Euro USD, very similar. We go down to the 5-minute where we're looking for that change of character to happen. We're looking for the break of structure after the change of character, but as soon as price gave us these highs, it just started going right back down and just flew down today. Just dumped. We know price gave us lower low, lower high. Right at one point we had lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and we see these lower lows down here. And I am gonna mark this here, lower low. These lower highs over here. And we had another day of drop. GA. I want to go to the full hour and see if we had a valid break of these lows. We know we're in peak high territory for GA, so regardless for me, I'm not going to be trading this. We do have a nice break. The full hour low, but structure low, we're still just tapped into it. I want to see a valid break of the entire area, not just where we have that higher low set. So looking good though. Then on the 30-minute, we had a day of drop yesterday. Today price gave us 2 days. And then price gave us that change of character, lower low, lower high, break of structure, lower low, lower high. Then price gave us another lower low point today. So we're trading between these 30-minute highs over here. And these lower lows over here. For GCAD, we had 2 days of drop. Price gave us a 3rd day low. Perfect. This is one in level 3, but we understand that in an uptrend, even though we're in an uptrend, we're at the top of the zone of consolidation where price has been rejecting the highs for the last couple times that we've been up here. So still going to be patient with GCAD. Gonna wait for price to either give us this pullback back down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation like we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 months, or we're gonna wait for price to give us that change of character break to the top side, so then we can start continuing to look for those entries back to the top side. So for now, just taking a step back. I do like that we have 3 days of drop. Once again, after 3 days of drop, the market must move sideways or go up. So could we snag an entry? For sure. Kenda, you said what on GJ? You said look at GJ last night, gave a 1 minute engulfing at the top of the zone. So let's go to the 1 minute. Again, this was one trade that I was looking at to take, to start looking to trade. Gave us this engulfing candle here on the 1 minute, which isn't bad. right? Entry was given at 2 in the morning, and we'll go step by step, on what we're looking for and see if this would have been valid, right? So the number one thing, what do we want to see, right? We wanted to see that change of character on the 1 minute, right, and the 5 minute. Price gave us a change of character, right? Then it gave us on a consolidation. Now, yes, price gave us an engulfing candle, but it gave it to us before the break. So, again, for me, I would rather see the break of structure happen first, and then the pullback to tap into the engulfing candles or tap into the EMAs, whatever the entry criteria is, right? For me, market structure comes first, right? Not the entries. Meaning, if price doesn't give me a valid break, and to give it and to put it in an example that everybody could understand, right? And there's a double bottom being printed up here. I'm not gonna take the trade on the double bottom, right? The entry of the break of structure line. I'm not gonna be looking to take price on the neckline break retest before I get the break. So what I would want to see would be the double top, the break, the retest. Now you're not always going to get a full retest, but again, just for the example, and then I take the trade to then continue. So regardless, I personally wouldn't have taken this trade. I would rather wait for the break to be given, which the break was given. The break was given at 5 a.m. and then the retest. Perfect. But what happened beforehand? STP has already been hit for the day. And yeah, price gave in, came back down, gave you a little bit more than STP. That's okay, it happens, right? But GJ was one that we were talking about from yesterday. GJ looked beautiful. So if you were up for those trades and you took those trades, it's not bad. Again, regardless, I wouldn't have taken this trade early in the morning, that 1 minute engulfing, because price didn't give us the break first. But it was a good pair to keep an eye on. Now again, we understood that this trade to the bottom side was just price giving us higher high going into a higher low, especially on the 30-minute time frame. You have higher high, higher low, higher high. So we know that price could be giving us the higher low to then continue back up into the higher high. Alright, so gonna be patient with trading GJ. I'm not gonna be aggressive with it. Once again, GJ is also another pair very similar to the US 30 movements, gold movements, right? We're pretty much in previous peak highs. We're still on these crazy uptrends. We got the break of the 4 hours. So our question now is, how steep is a pullback going to be? Right? Is price just gonna give us a full pullback to fill this 30-minute gap? Is price just gonna give us a simple internal pullback? Take a sip of water real quick. Right, so is price gonna give us an external pullback? Is it gonna give us an internal pullback? Those are the questions that we have. And again, it's just all about waiting for price to give you the movements before you take the trade. So if price decides to continue downtrend, then cool. I would want to see price break below these 30-minute lows, give us those lower lows, lower highs, shift on the trend, right? Because currently we're still higher high, higher low, higher high. We want to see that shift into lower lows and lower highs. So if that's what we gotta wait for, then that's what we'll wait for. It's all good. It's gonna be patient. GU gave us 3 days of drop, counter drop. After 3 days of drop, the market must move sideways or go up. We're still making lower lows and lower highs, so this is gonna be another pair on the list where just gotta be patient. The good thing is that we're trading at a lower low. Could we trade a little pullback? Price going from lower low into the lower highs, a little pullback to the top side? We can. Very aggressive trading, but that's what you gotta do when price is doing what it's doing sometimes. So we'll be present on these charts. We'll wait it out. We'll see what happens. NZD USD, we had 2 days of drop. Today being the third day, price ended up giving us that third day low. Very surprising. If you guys remember in yesterday's stream, I was like, I'm not really expecting a third day low to be made. We have such a steep pullback. Price gave us an inducement of the 4-hour low. Wasn't expecting price to give us these type of movements, but we ended up doing it. Again, price still hasn't given us a break of the 4-hour lows just yet. We're back in the inducement. So we'll just be patient. I'm not going to update the 4-hour lows just yet. On the 30-minute. Alright, I'm not gonna update the 30-minute just yet either. Price gave us lower low. Technically, we could say already that this is lower low, lower high. We'll mark it up as a lower low down here, but I want to see if price wants to give us a valid break of these lows, or if price is just going to give us an inducement to go back to the top side. And lastly, the last 4 or 5 pairs on the list that I'm not really trading, but we'll go over them. Let me go ahead and delete some of the drawings that we had from yesterday as well. Alright, so we had the gap that price tapped into, the area that we were trading in. Right, price tapped into it. Still have this engulfing candle at the top that price still hasn't tapped into. And we're in peak high territory, pretty much still making higher low, higher high. Looking to see where price wants to give us a set higher low to then continue back to the top side. Or if price gives us an inducement, starts making lower lows and lower highs, and we know we're going to start that downtrend push. So just about being patient with pairs like these, right? Again, especially when you're trading a pair that's either in current peak highs or previous peak highs. How much higher could it go? Right? How much more is price going to go to the top side before we start turning around and start that downtrend move? So US 30 ME right now, it's not my best friend. Wait for the trend to start happening. Once we get out of these zones of consolidations where price is just rejecting lows and rejecting highs, then we'll be out of there. But for now, not really doing any of that. USD CAD finally giving us some answers as well from what we were talking about yesterday. You know, there was a lot of people who were talking about, oh, we're going to start looking to go short again on USD CAD. So, you know, I didn't name drop anybody, but there was a lot of your favorite traders online. We're talking about short positions on USD CAD, right? And again, it's the understanding that on the daily time frame, you know, one set of rules is telling you one thing while the other set of rules are telling you something else completely different. Right, and it's just about waiting for the right confirmations to happen before you start taking a trade. Right, so with that being said, oh, that was Discord. I was like, what was that noise? My bad, my second monitor just went black. I can't see anything. Hold on. Sorry about that, team. My phone died? Damn. Charge that shit, old man. Come on now. Alright, I got my monitor back up. We're good. Alright, so what was I saying? I don't even know. So USD CAD, right? So there's 2 ways that you could be getting confused looking at USD CAD, right? So when you're looking at the structure, we know that we're still trading between the previous higher highs and higher lows. So we're technically still on an uptrend, right? But we also have what looks like the start of the overall downtrend, right? We had the 3 previous pushes, the 2 zones of consolidation. Price reached the previous peak highs. As soon as it reached the previous peak highs, price gave us a little zone of consolidation, or even a little inverse shoulder head shoulder, right? The downtrend shoulder head shoulder, where price then gave you the first push, the first level, first zone of consolidation on or above the 800 EMA, right? So all the rules are there. Price technically still hasn't given us a valid break of the highs, right? Gave us the inducement, was that push that it gave us today. So Could still price just be giving us an inducement to make people believe that we're going long to then go short? Could happen. So in these at these highs, specifically on the daily time frame, what I'm looking for is to see if price wants to give us a valid break of these highs. If we get a valid break, then cool. We know that we'll be looking for price to give us a higher low to then continue that push back to the top side. If price gives us the inducement and we start making lower lows and lower highs on the lower time frame, on the internal time frame, then we know that okay, cool, we can start looking for these short positions back down to the bottom. And we're at the top of the zone of consolidation, so we know that we're in the safety trade to take those trades back down to the bottom. USDZR, we're just moving sideways. I'm not even gonna waste my time with this one right now. We're just gonna skip it over. This is not one that I'm trading currently, so we're still trading at these lows of the 4-hour zone. Same thing we've been talking about since Monday, so nothing to really talk about. Gold is in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market. We had that gap that opened up yesterday in the beginning of the session. Price came up, tapped into it. As soon as we tapped into it, price induced the 5-minute highs, right? Because we were either looking for price to give us the inducement to then go short, or we're looking for a break to continue the uptrend push, and we got the inducement, right? The inducement, very similar to GJ, gave us a 5-minute engulfing, right? That 5-minute engulfing the 30-minute engulfing. 30-minute engulfing price tapped into, or price printed, but it never tapped into it, but it was also printed before the break. So wanted to see the break happen first, but once again, at this point, by the time that we printed this candle, STP's already hit, haven't gotten the pullback, all good. Now, what does this tell me for today? Or for tomorrow's trading session, for Friday? We got the 5-minute change of character. We got the 5-minute break of structure. So, could this be a good trade to still look for these short positions? It could happen. Gonna keep it there. Where we'll keep this one on our watch list. We're below the 800 EMA. Everything is looking good. Those longs yesterday on gold had a woman engulfing inside of the 30-minute. Sure? I don't know. We're in peak high. What are you talking about? Those longs yesterday on gold had a woman engulfing inside of the 30? Talking about these here? Last night's? Or the longs from yesterday? Oh, the buys to fill the gap. So you're saying this gap here, or you're saying this engulfing candle here. Yesterday, not last night. Gotcha. Okay. Then Bitcoin, guys, price gave us a 30-minute change of character. Went down into our 30-minute lows. Did not give us that valid break. Gave us an inducement. We still got another 30 minutes before the crypto market closes. Very similar to the other pairs too that had these engulfing candles. Price still hasn't tapped into the engulfing candle that we had on the daily. So at this point, could price still go up and tap into the engulfing? I'm not really expecting it. If price goes ahead and gives us a valid break of these 30-minute lows, I'm not expecting it. Now, if price doesn't give us the break and it taps into it, then obviously it's not a trade that I'll be taking. And I'm not going to update the 30-minute lows or highs just yet. And then on US oil, yo, why is everybody texting me, man? Like, what's good with people right now? And then US oil, we have a day of drop. Right, this is one that I'm keeping a very close eye on. Can you go over it? Yeah. So you're saying the price going up to fill the gap. So you have a 30-minute gap here. Or I'm sorry, a 30-minute engulfing candle. And inside of that 30-minute engulfing, you had a 1-minute engulfing. Which happened down here. The price tapped into at 11 p.m. Right, and when you're looking at 1-minute structure, at one point is very similar to the 5-minute. We had lower low, lower high, lower low. I'm not gonna mark this as lower low, lower high, but we had lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low, higher high, break of structure on the 1-minute. Right, and then price went down and gave you a 1-minute inducement, change of character to the bottom side. Right, so I mean, not bad. Is there something specific that you want me to talk about with this one? Like what did you have any like specific question on this one? What do you want me to talk about? I mean, we know we had a I mean, we know we had the gap. If because price gave the inducement, would it have been something you would have taken? No, I wouldn't have taken this trade. Right? Because again, the question with the gaps, especially trading a market like gold, and we've seen it with other pairs. We've seen it with AUD USD. We're currently seeing it with let's go over these pairs real quick. Right, and let's also take away the fact of market timing, right? Or when the time that price gave us the entry, right? Let's take that aspect away from it, because based off of that alone, no, I wouldn't have taken it, because I'm not looking for trades. I'm not on my charts at that time. I'm sleeping. You know, the example with GJ and the gap, right? The question is, when is the gap gonna be filled? We know gaps could be filled right away. It could be filled the next day. It could wait a month. It could wait two months, right? So that's the number one thing, right? The fact that price is trading at the higher highs, right? The fact that okay, yes, on the 1 minute we had that inducement. Um, would I have taken it? No, I personally wouldn't have. Just not in the areas that we're trading in, right? The gap gives you a little bit of a confirmation, right? It gives you that little cushion to be like, oh no, I feel comfortable taking a buy position at a higher high because we have a gap that's a little bit higher, right? But at the end of the day, again, it's for me personally, how many times have I seen this and I've tried taking the same trade and it doesn't work out, and the reasons why, right? Maybe if we would have a little bit more structure, like another, let's say, an extra day of structure where we know that this is where price has been rejecting lows and it gives us another retest to then continue, to be like a triple bottom, then yeah, I would take it to fill the gap up. But on a day where we already had the assumption that the overall move for today was going to be the short positions, right? I'm only looking for those positions. I'm looking for that trend to shift, right? Because I'm not expecting price. And again, we drew this out yesterday, right? I'm like, yo, there's two things price is gonna do here. There's gonna start trending down here, or we're gonna fill this gap up, tap into our 30-minute high, so then continue. I did draw that out yesterday, right? So it wasn't like we weren't expecting price to make this move, right? We were expecting two moves to be made, and it ended up doing one of the moves that we were expecting. But it's not an entry that I'm looking to catch. It's very high risk for no reason, because the same way that You know, what pair was it? What pair was it? USDR, right? The same way that price just wicks those stop losses on the lower time frames, you know, that could have happened here on gold. So if you're asking me personally, if I were to take this trade, no, I wouldn't have taken it. I wouldn't have taken this trade. But again, it all boils down to one, you know, again, if we're even looking at the timing that it happened, right? I'm not on the chart at this time to take entries. But again, not bad. You know, you're following the rules. Price gave you the 30-minute engulfing candle. Boom. As soon as price gave you that 30-minute engulfing, you start looking at the lower time frame, the internal time frame. You want to start seeing higher highs and higher lows. Again, technically, we didn't get a clean one, but we did. We did get the change. We did get the break. We got the inducement, right? The change of character, lower low that tapped into that 1 minute engulfing. Perfect, right? If you didn't feel comfortable taking the trade at the engulfing candle, stop loss below the engulfing, then cool. If you want to wait for another confirmation, you'll start looking for the EMA bounces, the EMA crosses. Just a little bit higher, you got the 50 crossing above the 200. You got price bounce off the 50. Perfect. You take that trade straight up to where the gap was, zero drawdown. Right, so you did have two confirmations here to take the trade back to fill that gap to the top side. So again, it's not a horrible trade. But for me, once again, I wouldn't have taken the trade. I wouldn't have even been looking to take a position in these areas. And I'm still not. Gold is still one that's not really on my watch list. Like, yes, I have it on, obviously. I keep it updated. And I'm always keeping a glance at it. But again, we've been put in a position with gold where we know price could just continue to trend, right? And why would I go against the overall trend that we're currently in when price is at a higher low? You know, why would I take a trade here going short? Right? So yes, even though we have a change of character on the 5 minute, we have the break of structure on the 5 minute going short. Why would I take a trade going short when price is at a higher low? Right? It just doesn't make sense for my portfolio. So I hope that makes sense. Hi brothers, what's good, Albert? Hope you're doing well, my brother. But let me know if you guys have any questions. If not, that's pretty much it for today. Hey, good day. Kindly do go over US 30. I missed it, please. Got you. I'm not really looking at anything on US 30. You know, we just did this session. We just did this pair too. So even if you want to go back and rewatch the segment, but US 30, we're in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market. We're trading at a higher high. I'm personally not looking really to take any trades right now. Could price continue the uptrend the same way that it did with gold, where price just continues to fly? Absolutely. This push down that we saw for the last 2 days, could this just be a higher low? Because when we're looking at the trend again, higher high, higher low, higher high, could this be a higher low down here? Of course. So not only that, but we're on the 800 EMA. Prices testing, respecting the 800 EMA. Could price continue the uptrend push? Absolutely. But again, for me personally, there's not much to say on US 30, just based on the fact that we're in peak high territory, we're in the highest point in the market. I'm not currently being active on these charts that are on peak high or peak low territory. GJ 372 and golfing, you would have taken that, right? On what day? What trade are you talking about? Earlier this week, no. If you're talking about the trades going up, no, I would not be taking none of these trades. If we're talking about when price is trending to the top side, no, because the first thing I wanted to see before I even consider to take the trades to the top side is the break of the 4-hour highs And we also know that before price started this uptrend push, it gave us this fat gap here at the bottom of the chart. So for me, I'm not looking to take no long positions until price fills this gap up at the bottom of the trade, at the bottom of the zone. The same area that you guys have been hearing me talk about this pretty much the entire year with AU, right? This entire year, I've been saying the same thing. I'm not going to be looking for short positions on AU until price fills this gap up, or until price tells me that this is the lower high point, we're gonna go into a lower low. So same thing with GJ. If it's the 372 to the top side, no. I first needed to see price give me the break on the 4-hour, and we had that gap at the bottom of the market. Earlier you would have, that's why I asked. No. I would not be taking none of these trades. A lot of these moves have been happening during London and Asia and London session, but I'm not doing that to myself where I'm waking up at 2, 3 in the morning. I'm just not. I don't want it that much, man. Again, it's very simple, bro. Like, it really is. Like, the rules don't, for me, I'm very protective over my rules. And again, the reasons why is I've seen it happen over and over and over again. Right? I've seen the good days and I've seen the horrible days. I don't want to see the horrible days. I don't need that shit to come back. It's again, like, it's the same rules. Like, like, the number one thing, right, is why are we even talking about GJ? Right? Like, look where we're at with GJ. What are we gonna trade here? It doesn't even look nice. For the last 4 months, right, 3 months, price has just been consolidating in this area. What am I gonna trade here? Nothing. The next thing I'm looking to trade on GJ is shorts. Why? Because we're trading at a higher high. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for price to fill this gap at the 30-minute time frame. That's it. Once price does that, if it starts making higher highs and higher lows again, then cool. Because we also understand that this is the higher high that made the break, and we're looking for price to go into a higher low. Once we get to the higher low, and we start making higher highs and higher lows on the internal time frame, that's when I'll start looking to take those trades again back to the top side. Same thing with US 30. US 30, we're in peak high territory. We're in the highest point of the market. We're at a higher high. I'm not gonna be looking to take no long positions in this area. I'm looking for price to go from a higher high to a higher low. That's it. Once price goes into the higher low, then I'll start looking to take price from the higher low back up into the higher high. Right? Same thing with gold. Where are we with gold? Right now we're gold. We're at a higher high. We're at the highest point in the market. We're in peak high territory. What am I looking for? Not looking for price to make higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. I'm looking for price to make higher high, higher low. Higher low, higher high. Same thing. Gold, all I was looking for, right, is price to go from the higher high to a higher low. Once price gets to the higher low, like we did here, what am I looking for? Internally, I'm either looking for price to start making higher highs and higher lows. That'll tell us that price is going to continue this uptrend push. Or we're going to be looking for price to respect the lower low and lower high structure that we currently see. That's it. Like, it's really that simple. Like, trading in peak high isn't hard. It's just you have to have the patience to do it. Right? Like AUD USD, we're not in peak high, we're not in peak low, we're in the middle of the zone of consolidation in the beginning of the trend. Price going from a lower low to a lower high point. And in order for me to start looking for price to go from the lower high into a lower low, internally, on the internal time frame, I need to start seeing lower lows and lower highs. Is price making lower lows and lower highs? No. Right? It started at one point, and then we made another higher high point. Right? So what do I want to see? I want to see price making lower lows and lower highs. I want to see that trend shift on the internal time frame before I take the trade. And we could say the same with a lot of these pairs. Right? GU, we could say the same thing. EU, we could say the same thing. that's pretty much it, guys. Any other questions, let me know. Anything else you guys want me to go over, let me know. If not, we'll be done for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow morning for the live trading session. We'll be in the Discord. As always, I'll wake up, I'll look at the charts. If there's anything left on the table, then we'll be live. If I wake up and there's nothing on the charts, then there's not going to be no stream until Sunday for the weekly market breakdown. So hope to see you guys tomorrow morning. Give you another minute. Hope you all have a good rest of your night. Just picking your brains, all good. Good night, Mr. Albert. We'll see you tomorrow, man. Alright, guys. Peace out.